Alright, welcome back to Danksco Traders Hub, and I believe you guys are having a great time. Yes, it's a beautiful Tuesday morning, and as usual, you guys we'll be here ready to take this on as usual, ready to analyze, ready to make this thing happen. So without any further ado, as usual, you know how we do this. Let's head into prayer and then start off, and then later on get into our daily routine on how we analyze these assets. Father, we thank you for today. Thank you for yet another day, beautiful day. Yes, starting with rain. We give you praise for it still right here in Uganda, Lord. We say thank you as we are starting today's session for yesterday's profits. Thank you for yesterday's profits, and we believe even today we are going to make money. Yes, the whole day was a bit slow, Lord, but at the end of the day we were able to grab some profits, and we give you praise for it. As we get into today's session, grant us clear mindset to be able to analyze. Allow us to see a deeper knowledge into these charts and every depth of every analysis that we need to make. Help us to see it. Let us understand it. Let us use it for our own benefit, and of course to give you all the glory at the end of the day. Thank you for the profits that we're making today. Thank you for the entries and exit points that you're giving us. Thank you for we are making money, and those that haven't recovered their losses, they are recovering today. We give you praise. We love you. In Jesus' name we've prayed. Amen. Right. So without any further waiting, let's get into Crash 500. Crash 500. Crash 500. Crash 500. Alright, so Crash 500, yesterday we were looking at this kind of retest. Yep, we were looking at that kind of retest. Those who were around, you remember it. We were looking for this kind of retest yesterday. According to H1, we wanted that retest, but it had already happened here, though it had not gone even be around where we normally wait for 50% of the fair value gap. So we thought our anticipation was for it to come back and at least get into 50%, but it failed. It only touched it and went all the way the other side. But if you go to H4, you still see that it only touched it. The fair value gap on H4, it only touched it, never went inside. So that's how weird it was. So we didn't see any pullback again. Price went all the way into buys. That's what we were looking for, but as it went, we wanted it to react from that and we get back here. Right here we look for sales right here. Yeah, but as we speak, price has failed to react from there. In fact, it is going all the way up there. We can see a fair sorry about that. My internet had gone off because of power, so the power just went off. So as I speak, I have a few minutes before my PC gets done, but I think by the time it gets off, we'll be done with the analysis. All right, so sorry about that, guys. Let's now get back into the analysis. Let's get back into the analysis. All right, so I was talking about crash. So we missed that. As we can see on H4, we have a fair value gap there where it is currently, but also we have another one up there. There's another one, fair value gap right there. I remember telling you that we had that daily order block. We have passed it right there. So one may say, according to H4, according to daily, one may say this was a break of structure where we are currently right here. That was a break of structure, so we will be waiting for a pullback. Remember, we left some fair value gap on H4, so price is likely to make a pullback right here to grab that liquidity. At a certain point, remember, according to daily time frame, we're supposed to be looking for buys, looking at CCI. But before we can say that, we see that was a break of structure right here on daily time frame. We got a lower low here, but then right here, this level here, that was like a lower high. Then this was like a short pullback, which was not that great kind of pullback right here according to H4. If you see on daily, this would be like the lower low, but not even the lower low. That was just a low because it didn't come to take this lower low out. So that's how it happened. So once that happened, we clearly see that price got into buys, and that was the change of character, if you can say that. That is where one can say that was a change of character. So as we speak, price is headed into buys, meaning we are looking for a higher high, then we'll be coming back to look for a higher low. So now I can easily delete everything that I have here, even this, delete that, delete. Now I can delete that. If I go back to daily time frame, I will clearly be seeing this order block, but also I'll be seeing this fair value gap right here that it is leaving. This candle hasn't closed yet on of daily, so it is today's candle, meaning the buys are still continuing. So we'll be waiting for that pullback when price comes around. But if this is a change of character that we've seen here, that will tell us exactly that we'll be waiting for pullback here according to H4, grab that liquidity, and then head over back into buys, because as we speak, we are going to be looking for buys. H4 is headed to oversold, meaning it's likely to come to that order block on H4, and then we start to see sells. So I can leave it from there and then put it right here. That is how I'll be anticipating that. If I go to H1, clearly H1 is ready to sell. M15 is also ready to sell, so we'll be waiting for when it is ready on H4. So this, I have no business with it. I can't trade that unless if one wants to scalp on M1 and M5, unless if you want to scalp. But right now, the way I trade, where I use H1 and M15 a lot, then I may not have any entry right now. I may have to wait for it and wait for the sales, where we'll be selling to take it all the way down below. All right, enough of crash 500. Let's now jump into boom 1000. boom 1000. Now I'm not going to be wasting a lot of time on assets that are still consolidating, that have no clear structure, so you bear with me because I'm fighting with time right here due to power. All right, so boom 1000, this is what we wanted yesterday. Those who attended yesterday's analysis, we wanted something like this. We wanted this to see this, but it did not happen. In fact, we saw a break of structure on H1 there, went back a bit, came here, gave us another lower low, but then this is where we saw the lower high taken out. That was a change of character right there, so I can easily delete everything that I have here. This, as we speak today morning, is when we saw this kind of change of character, and price retested immediately with that candle, and exactly, immediately price went into to give us a higher high. We clearly see that it left some fair value gap right here, but also there's an order block here, there's an order block down below, so we still have some points of interest it can easily come back to. This one is out, this order block is out, then we can only now anticipate this. So we have a pullback right here that can push us into buys again. So for now, that is something I can wait for. Why? Because that's a fair value gap right there. That's a fair value gap right there. And if I'm using that and this, then that's what you will see. You will see that fair value gap is between 50 and 61.8, which is our Fibonacci retracement level. All right, so for now I will be looking for this pullback. If I go to M15, am I ready to get that? Yeah, it is happening. So I will be ready to enter my buys when price gets back here. All right, so that is on boom 1000. Let's head over to boom 500. So boom 500, yesterday, now these are some trends that give me some hard time. I think I'm learning on how to trade without stop losses. This was one of the trades that I was supposed to trade without a stop loss. I gave it to the VIP guys, and where I had put my stop loss, of course I was taken out. Yeah, right there. I actually entered 2 times. Look at that. It was a stop hunt. It was a stop hunt right there, where it came exactly where I had put my stop loss. And at a certain point I started to feel like these guys track my account. You can clearly see at a certain point I started to feel like these guys of the leave track my account and push price to actually where I put my stop loss. And that's I've seen this countless times. I'm not complaining, but I've seen this countless times. This, price coming to exactly. It's not about, if it goes and exceeds the point where I put my stop loss, that would be okay. I would know that, yeah, maybe I messed up. I didn't know exactly where to put the stop loss. But these guys come exactly on the very point I've put the stop loss and immediately start to reverse. That is what happens several times. Look at that. Took me out immediately. That happened. Then here, took me out right here. Immediately reversed and then came back again like that. So you can see the first stop loss where I had put it right there. Price never came back to it. If I can zoom out here. if I can zoom out there, you can see clearly that price never came back to it at all. That was where I put my stop loss at the first entry. My TP was just here. If I can go back to H1, bring this back, you can see first TP was there, second TP here, third TP all the way here. It has reached our first TP was here. This very line there where you're seeing it on M15, this was our first TP right there. It was hit right there. First TP was hit. Now second TP has been hit right there. Now it's going for the third TP probably. Yeah, I believe it's still actually going down for this second TP. Let me use my fib to understand this. Yeah, it's still going down. It's not yet done with retracing. It is going to come to this level, so we'll be waiting for it. But that is the only problem I have with the leave. That is the only problem I have with the leave. I think I will I'm learning to trade without a stop loss. I'm still learning. I'm not used to it. I only did it actually yesterday and some other day once. So yesterday was the second time doing it on V25S. Yeah. But as I speak, this took us out, so I suffered those losses that I was not supposed to suffer because these guys were doing stop hunt. Yeah, anyways, that's the market, so we stop crying for what has already passed. So right now as I speak, M15 is oversold and it is giving us actually a change of character right there. Delete that. Use this. It is giving us a change of character. It has given us a change of character right there. Weird. Let's go to H1. H1, on the other hand, we're supposed to be looking for buys. Why? Because we've been in an uptrend. If I use my fib and put it there, it touched a level between 50 and 61.8. That is the order block. So let's wait and see. According to H1, this is a break of structure right here. That is a break of structure right there, meaning continuation of sales, and that would be even right here where we are. The only challenge is, according to M15, we have a change of character, but this can be a fake change of character, and it can only come around. Let me see. First go back here. Check this out. Use fib. Understand where price may react from right there, and clearly it has touched that level right in between there. And we clearly see there is a fair value gap right there. It hasn't touched the fair value gap, so it's likely to come to this fair value gap, and push us back into sales. So we'll be ready for it if it does that, because according to H1, we had a break of structure. Right here. So this is just looking for a pullback or to create a lower high and then continue to look for a new lower low, and we want this new lower low to at least come around here. We want to get our buys from that level so that we can push it all the way back up there. Alright, I think that's it for today. For this asset. Let's now head over to V25-1S. V25-1S. This is where I did what? This is where I I entered without stop losses. Yeah, I entered several entries. I kept on entering actually because I knew without a doubt it's going to get into buys. Yeah, there's when you know that you know. Yeah, when you know that you know, then you can choose to enter without stop losses. But knowing that your account can actually afford to do that, and knowing that if you happen to get into a loss and you're done with that, and you know you can easily recover, you have a plan to recover. If you don't, then you better not do anything. So let's look at it. Yesterday, this was the analysis. We wanted the pullback, and this was the pullback that happened yesterday. I think this, yes, H1. Yeah, I don't remember why I have it here, but there's a pullback I was looking at yesterday, and this is what I had drawn. Pullback here, and then enter buys. So when did I enter the first entry? Let's look at it. Yes, this was the pullback. So if I can go to H1, when it made this pullback back to this fair value gap, was this the one? Yeah, something like that, right there and there. I think it was on H1. Yeah, this fair value gap right here, this pullback right there is what I wanted, is what I was looking at. When price reacts back to it, so that I can enter. So when it did that right here, I quickly made an entry right here. Only it was a fake one. It went all the way back to the order block right here. When it went to order block, I made another entry. Actually it came to my entry point at first. I took out this last entry. I took out that and left these two to continue running. When I left them to continue running, look at that. It retested on that fair value gap and came back into sales. I stayed in the market still. I entered other more entries, as you can see, but these ones I had even put a stop loss. I don't know why I even put a stop loss, but I was not supposed to put a stop loss for these other entries. So they came, I added more entries. They were all taken out. I think 1, 2. So this one was in profits. This one was a loss. This one was a loss. So all these, they were taken out. But then I made another entry when price came and touched that, because I analyzed it again and saw that it was giving us that kind of structure. So once I realized that, I made another entry when it started to buy. I made another entry that took us all the way up there. Closed it when it reached that level. Then it made a pullback, went and came to my entry point, and immediately I closed. I had already had enough. It was almost the whole day, so I closed it. After closing it, because it was coming back to that trend line, it again retested all the way back to the order block. That's how funny this trade was yesterday, all the way back to the order block. But now, this time, it did not touch the trend line because it was looking for liquidity, enough liquidity to push it out from that structure and continue with the buys. So that's why we saw that it never came back to the trend line. So now I can easily delete everything that I have here. It's a lot, and take out even that. Yeah, so that's how I managed to recover. I was in a big loss when it did this floating loss. This was a big floating loss, but because I knew that there was another fair value gap here, I was not worried. And because already I had this structure of daily time frame, I was not worried, because these structures are proven structures that I use in my strategy when I'm trading. So That's why I wasn't worried. Delete everything right there. I think I can even now delete this. Delete that. And now let's look at what is happening. So according to daily time frame, according to H4, we are still looking for buys. According to daily, we need buys. So H1, what do we need? We need buys. We had a fair value gap. Price has reacted to that level 2 times, but it has not gone through it to reach half of it. As we were going up, we left a big fair value gap right here. Yeah, we left a big fair value gap right here. So price can easily find its way here, but it also can find its way right here. Why? Because it is in premium. It is in discount. It is in discount just below the 61.8. So we can still have it. We can still have it there, but we know at a certain point we will be looking for buys. This is our change of character for the sell that we are currently seeing on M15, and it is likely to bring us all the way back here. Yeah, back to this level or to that order block right here. This is where big momentum buy moves started from, this order block. Yeah, so we will easily see it come to this order block or to the fair value gap that we have on H1. So as I speak, it's selling according to M15, according to H1. Why is it selling on H1? It is below our 10 MA and it reached our retracement level. So it is retracing, having given us a change of character right here. According to H1, that was a change of character right there, or you can say that is a neckline, or you can say this was a double bottom. Why a double bottom? It was on fair value gap, which is according to H4 right here. So that becomes a double. This becomes a double bottom. Remember, this is V25S, please. This is V25S. Sorry, I forgot to write this, but I'm almost done even. V25 1S. So forgive me about that. All right, so this is what we are going to anticipate. This is what we are going to anticipate. Pullback. I can easily delete this for now. Delete that. I've deleted even the fair value gap right here. So we have that fair value gap, and we need price to come there so that we can get into a buy, but also it can in fact decide to not get back up and give us that. Why? Because this here, like I've showed you, this is a change of character right here. This is a change of character level right there. This is a lower low, failure to create a new lower low. Price went up, broke that previous lower high, and now we are retesting it. So we can easily head back into buys and start to see this becomes our higher low, higher high, higher low, and we continue with the highs just like we need. So for now, I will leave it right where it is and wait for whatever happens around this level. But according to CCI, it is showing us that we may look into continuation of sales to come around this fair value gap. All right, I think that's enough for V25S, V25 1S. Let's now head over to Volatility 75. Vol 75. I have a few minutes before this laptop breaks out. I have about 25 minutes. So let's look into V75. V75, I wanted this. Those who remember yesterday's analysis, this is what we were looking for. Pull back here or there. So it came to this fair value gap, which is according to H1 right there, that fair value gap, and gave us that kind of retest. But then it came back. It did not reach, the first time it did not reach half of that level. So I believe it's going to come to half of that level, or to even come back to the support level down below. We'll wait and see what it is going to do. But as we speak, that is what we have. Let me first delete everything right here. Delete that, delete this, delete that, and that. So as we speak, we are left with this move. This move is what is happening, so I can easily delete it. Now all we need is this and then this. But then when it retested from this level and went back up there and then started to sell, one may say it's not going to come back up there. Yeah, it may actually now come all the way to this, which is very near. Where is another point of interest? It's likely to continue. So all this has to go. It's likely to continue all the way here, where as we speak, it's likely to continue like that all the way to this daily fair value gap. Yeah, as we speak. Why? Because H1, as you can see, it did a pullback from this fair value gap, went up there to grab some liquidity. If I can use my fib from this high and that low, then you will see that it came to that level. It's supposed to be the other way around. Yeah, you can see it came to 38.2 right there on fib. So that's when it started to sell again. So it's not going to go back up like we needed, according to H4, like we needed on that fair value gap. It only touched it right here with this candle. It never went in at least 50% of it. So we won't be looking at it going back up again. But now we can easily anticipate continuation of this all the way down, all the way to this level. So we've seen H1 and H4. H4 needs buys, but it has come back to that order block on H4 I mean. According to H1, that is a fair value gap. According to M15, on the other hand, I need buys. So H1 is saying sells, H4 is saying buys, and M15 is saying we need buys. But all that is dependent on the indicator CCI, so which I don't normally rely on it if I have something of this kind, if they are not on the same if they are not aligning all the three. So what do I do here? What do I do? This is a pullback. This is a pullback right here. This is a pullback. We see on H1. Okay. So we are selling H1 M15. According to H1, we are going to continue selling. Knowing clearly that on H4, this was a change of character. Knowing clearly on H4 that was a change of character. So if that was a change of character, anything can happen where we are currently. Even though the CCI on H1 is saying we need to look for buys, sells, we can actually see buys, we can anticipate buys where we are here, being that is the order block that gave us enough orders where a lot of buyers came into market and pushed price all the way to that level. All right, so now that we know that, go to daily. Daily, the general trend is a sell. We know that the general trend is a sell. We needed a retest right there, but from what I'm seeing, we don't need it actually. Why? The only point of interest that we left back is that only. But from here, there's nothing else left back according to daily. So meaning we are likely not to head back up there for some time. So all we need now is sells. So it means what we are seeing on daily, on H5 we may actually see it come back right here and fails to create a new high, so that we can now enter and continue with sales, just like we need on H4, just like we need on H sales. We need sales just like we need them on H1 and daily time frame. So but now we are going to be anticipating buys just like we did on M15 and H4. So M15, it is oversold. We need to understand if we are ready. What will make us to know that we are ready for the buys is a change of character on M15. If we see a change of character on M15, then we'll be getting into buys to take us all the way up there, which will be according to H4. All right. If that fails, if this continues, then it will see a breakout on that order block, which will push price all the way back to this other daily order block, which is down below here. A fair value gap actually, which is here. So for now, this is a no-go for me. I'm not trading such a trade. I will just wait for M15 to give me a reversal signal, then I can try to take advantage of it. Jump 50. Now jump 50, it has failed to hit my TP. I entered it this morning. Jump 50. I entered it this morning before I started the class, I think around 9. After seeing this, I saw on H1 that was a pull, that was a good entry. Price was above my 10 MA. I made my entry right here, just above my 10 MA, to actually push price to go all the way up there. But as I speak, it has started to give me a pullback. All I need was profit right about there, and I'll be out of the market on jump 50. But it has failed to reach that level. It has failed to reach it. As I speak. So anyways, let me now first talk about yesterday before I can talk about today. This was yesterday's move right there. Those who attended yesterday's session, you remember the analysis. This was the weak support that we had. I told us that we will anticipate a pullback to that fair value gap right there on M15, and then we can start to sell. So it started selling immediately after it reached that fair value gap. Started to sell, but it was having a low momentum. So it gave us a break here, a break of support, but it was not that much of a big impact. It came here, broke, and now retested. After retesting, that's where we saw big momentum moves right there when it tested that order block, or when it tested that support level, which became now a resistance after being broken right there. So that's when we start to see big momentum. Now big momentum moves. Now I didn't enter it. I actually entered when it had retested there on that fair value gap. I entered, but it was playing around here, failing to break this support, so I closed with small money there. But then I failed to get time again to actually monitor it and enter again right here. That's how I missed these big moves right here. These would have given us a good money. I never shared this because it was a bit tricky, though it was having low momentum. Why? Because it was on the support. Yeah, so I never shared that. It was a kind of a risky, not even a risky, but it was a short trade. I don't normally give signals that I anticipate to be short trades. Yeah, so that's what happened yesterday. So now we can delete this, and after doing this move, it actually came to our daily order block. You can clearly see it came to our daily order block right there. Came to our daily order block, and as we speak, that's where we are. So all we need now is some buys. But as I speak, I think I'm going to close this trade. First delete these. It has started to warn me. Now, according to daily, I have like 1 or 2 minutes, so it's going to close, guys. You forgive me, but it's going to close. We still had around 2 assets to analyze, so I am so sorry about that. As we have seen, we have all these points of interest up there, but according to daily time frame, you clearly see that it's still looking for oversold level right here. Still not yet done, even though we've seen it has reached that